But we got to get to the trade deadline. All hell's breaking loose. Arash, I would like to give you this opportunity to formally apologize to the Pucksnet listeners for 3 months of why you got to trade JT Miller.
I state my regret. No. Okay. All right. No. Okay.
No. Nobody expected JT Miller to put up 3 points a game and a losing effort every single night. We also expected him to play a bit more defense, and he didn't do that against Buffalo on Sunday night.
So, all right, before we get breaking down trade deadline, we need to talk. Let's talk about the Canucks first. Okay, so Canucks have lost
a lot.
What was it? 2-3 and they're 2-3-3. Like
that was the homestand, and this was the homestand. This was the homestand, Arash, where it was like, okay, Calgary should be a challenge, but
okay, they picked up 1 point. They've picked up 1 point in 4 games against both Buffalo and Detroit.
That's the measuring stick.
That's the measuring stick. Okay, and I think what we've learned is this team is not as bad as they were at the start and not as good as they were the last 30 games.
Yeah,
they're somewhere in the middle of that, which unfortunately is still not great, but not terrible. And that's an awful place to be. Being not great, but not terrible is like, what are you doing? And guess what? That's what they're aiming to be. That's where they're aiming to finish right now. They're aiming to finish somewhere between 13 and 15 and in the draft lottery and everything, which is, as everyone knows, kind of hell. But
thank you, Edmonton.
We do have to talk about the 2 moves the 2.5 moves they kind of made in the last 24 hours. The first being when that Travis Hamonic trade happened, I have not seen this fan base like you remember that part in The Simpsons where Lionel Hutz thinks he's like a world without lawyers, and he thinks about everyone holding hands and like it's a peaceful day.
When I got the news, when I refreshed my phone when we were on Salt Spring on the weekend, cars stopped in the intersection, and people got up onto the hoods of the car and just danced when they heard that.
It's literally the beginning scene of La La Land. You could have literally been like, and then people
moved them. They moved Travis Hamonic.
Well, how much they retain? Nothing. What? And they got a pick back. Are you fucking drunk or something? Yeah, it's crazy, right? I didn't even know they could trade for a pick. Right? It's crazy. Anyway, so when that happened, it was like a world without lawyers, and everyone was kumbaya holding hands. That I feel like if they had just done the Hamonic deal and then moved Mott for a 4th, like I think for what they were able to do, it would have been told like check mark. Yeah, okay, you did it. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset that they didn't move Besser and they didn't move they don't have to do that right now. So I think what ended up happening was they saw the price on the market was not giving them what they wanted. Just like, for example, people in this market thought Tyler Mott was going to return like a 2nd and a 3rd. This is a bubble thing. You need to adjust. And I know people look out and they're like, well, if Hampus Lindholm got a 1st and a blah, blah, how can't they get 9 first-round picks for JT Miller? I'm like, that's not like not players in the NHL don't have like a value bar that is universal to every team, so you can go and just cheat their player like as NHL 22. That's not how this works. So they moved Travis Hamonic without any salary retention and get a 3rd, which was their 3rd round pick that they moved in the Nate Schmidt deal. So they got that back. That move was already a sign that this ain't your mama's Vancouver Canucks in the last 8 years. There was a 45-minute period where we were like, whoa, that's a home run. That's like a deadline winning deal for this team.
Yeah. I was watching Rash, I was watching Dangle. He was giving a couple quick instant reactions to the Giordano trade and stuff. And he talked about this, and he's like, "This is a grand slam home run for the Canucks."
It's been so long. And so that 45 minutes lasted, and then they do another move, which at first I was frustrated with, but that was entirely due to my PTSD from,
of course,
management before. I totally understand people being like, "Oh, of course they wouldn't just keep a draft pick." But in the long run, if you think about it, getting off of Travis Hamonic's deal and replacing him with a 25-year-old that's making 1.5 this year and next year, who can play both positions, who analytically is very well liked in this organization by the new individuals brought in.
Jay Fresh didn't even release a chart. He just gave 2 thumbs up. He was reviewing a movie.
Yeah.
They were removing a movie.
He's 25. He's going to be, I believe he's December birthday, so he just turned 25.
Is he a Saggy like us?
Saggy like us, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think. So they make that move. And also the really interesting thing with it is it's complete team control, because after his deal is up next year, he's still RFA. He's not UFA.
Excellent.
He's still an RFA. So you free up $1.5 million in cap. And from reports also that we heard today, Travis Hamonic, he wore out his welcome. Not the darling of the dressing room. We don't know exactly why, but with Travis Hamonic, we don't know exactly why with a lot of things in regards to the last 6 or 8 months.
That's the thing. Like, you're getting, I think it was Frank Saravelli, you shared a report saying, like, kind of, the Canucks he's reached out to, they're kind of like, okay, breath of fresh air. You could interpret that as, this is a guy that didn't jive with this group, or you can interpret that however you want, but at the end of the day, there's a team that's kind of glad that a player's not on it anymore. And I don't know, as a player, I'd kind of be stoked if a guy that was brought to our team making a fair bit of money, expected to play top 4 big minutes, you don't know on any given day if he's eligible to play in a certain country, if he doesn't have his phantom injury where it was like, is Hamonic playing? Is he traveling with the team? There was so much confusion and just a bit of a clusterfork with a lack of due diligence done by the previous regime. And so just to have that somewhere else, I'd be breathing a sigh of relief too.
Yeah. So they moved past that. And I think a lot of what was done in the last 24 hours for some fans was a little tough, just because they really don't know the trauma they've been through. Like, I truly believe this. Like, one of my creeds in life is that a lot of people, if they knew how to do the work, they would. But sadly, a lot of people don't have the tools to do the work. And by the work, I mean, it's like looking at, why do you have anxiety? Why do you have stress? Why do we view certain
triggers?
Why we have these triggers, right? And for the last 7 years and 6 months of the previous regime, you got sent the ringer of being told one thing and there are other things done, and being gaslit and all this stuff. So for them to do that Hamonic move, even at the cost of, well, not at the cost, but like literally Hamonic for Travis Dermott, doing that is a masterclass move. How
but
that
you need to get younger and create salary cap and somehow bamboozle another team when you are over a barrel in desperate need of salary cap is just incredible wizardry.
It's just insane that was available to them.